Welcome and thank you so much for joining us for the African Storyteller podcast. This is the first edition of our podcast that features Africa's next generation of leaders and showcases the excellence that Africa has to offer and also shares Africa's stories of growth and prosperity. Africa is an investment destination of choice, and we believe that through telling Africa's stories of growth, we are marketing Africa to Africa and Africa to the world. Our first guest today is a guy that is determined, energetic, and is making waves across Africa and in markets that are beyond the continent. In 2002 alone, he was adorned with 3 big awards: Top Entrepreneur of the Year, Best Tech CEO, as well as the winner of the BRICS International Award. And this is none other than the Group CEO of AnalyticsX, Mr. Talifhani Banks. Talifhani, welcome. Talifhani. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for actually joining us. The Group CEO of AnalyticsX, group of companies, and he is a guy that is basically on the watch, on the move, and everybody is asking, who is he? Who is Talifhani?
People understand based on what they know and what they're exposed to. But what I can say is I'm not too far from the other great people who have walked this journey. When I look at Steve Jobs, clear blueprint. To his mind, he knew what he was doing, but to everyone else, madness. Floyd Mayweather, stupid in books, genius in the boxing ring. You know, those guys, I look at them and I say, I am the same representation, because when I'm on the field, I'm ready.
Cut from the same cloth, absolutely.
Yes. I started trading. My mother, I grew up in Louis Trichardt in Limpopo, and my mother introduced me to business when I was 6, 7. By 10 years, I was on my own. I was selling at a train station. And I say this as fun thing, but I was not selling just for fun. I was selling to bring bread. So why would somebody send you to sell when they know you're not gonna come back? You need to represent. And I learned there that every day when I'm going out, I need to represent my mother. And from that time, I've been working. And fortunately, people like me, they end up in that environment because they've realized they are not really strong academically. But I was also not bad academically. Probably in mathematics, I'm somewhere there, top 10, top 5. So that's what gives me courage to think I can go to University of Pretoria. My high school, I'm the only one who went to University of Pretoria. But I realized there's so many of us who applied. It's not the same ambition. So that's the same mindset. In that room, I'm gonna become what I say. And I moved to university, finished statistics, majored in econometrics, and I thought I was gonna work for the big banks, so the JSE and stuff. But as I finished, I fell in love again with my entrepreneurial journey, and it came through retail. And I work for Massmart as a data analyst. I'm analyzing brands, products. I'm realizing there's so many products. This is what I love. I moved to Pick n Pay. I was a pricing analyst. Now I'm working with managers, marketing, this and that. And now I'm understanding the full blueprint of corporate business and retail. And I left Pick n Pay saying I'm going to start business, but I consulted to 2 companies, and that was Grohe and AutoZone. AutoZone, I was working with the CEO of AutoZone, 250 stores. Where I'm coming from, there used to be this man who used to work for AutoZone. He was a regional manager, highly respected. When I was at AutoZone, I was a manager to these guys. How is it that I automated my life so quickly? I have it. And that's when it hit me that if I don't answer the calling, I would have failed so many entrepreneurs who are like me in the future. And for me, I promise you, my mother didn't talk to me for 6 months. She didn't think this is for me. So the journey I'm walking, it was not dependent on people believing in me. It was from within.
It was you believing in yourself.
Yes, no clapping. So now when I'm doing it, it's not because you are clapping, it's because it's within.
Absolutely.
And when I'm in that field, I have to be ready.
So looking at the fact that, entrepreneurship was your calling, and if you look at our education system, I think just really across Africa, it teaches us to be employed. It teaches us to actually serve somebody. It almost says to us, somebody needs to tell you you are good at something. Somebody needs to tell you you are now ready to move to the next level, How did you actually, almost go against the grain and say, nobody's going to teach me how to, but I will first teach myself and then I'll get the formal, training. And I think add to that, if you look at Africa, with about an estimated 1.4 billion people, 70% of those people are below the age of 30. No matter how much jobs can be created, we can never create enough jobs to absorb those people. So how do we actually, one, solve this mindset problem, and on the other hand, really take advantage of the fact that, this young, energetic population could actually be drivers of our economies and could actually be active participants in growing and turning Africa into this hub of entrepreneurial activity?
I like what you're saying. Africa is so huge and is the biggest, fast-growing economy. I think there's a disconnect between basic survivalist entrepreneurs and educated professionals in South Africa. An educated professional in actuarial or something, they will say, I can't wash cars, because it's viewed as something that is basic. But with your knowledge, if you had that connection, you can build one of the most powerful car wash business. So they don't know how to interpret the basics. I graduated statistics, worked in corporate, and I'm sitting in this room narrating stories using data. And I feel like I'm a journalist. I narrate stories. But the solution to economic growth is always bottom line entrepreneurship. I learned this from econometrics. And I know the key indicators of what causes growth in the economy. But if I continue talking like a journalist like this, I'm not going to play any part to solve anything. I'm just a theorist. And I didn't want to be in that room anymore. I got tired of being in that room. Or it was not for me. And I felt like I was doing 10% of myself. The only thing I needed to do was to tap into the child side of me, who used to trade and believe in himself, even if he didn't know the bigger picture of business. Connecting that part with the knowledge, I was able to connect some that has become sustainable now. I can't explain it, but that part, that is what is missing in South Africa and in the continent. We don't want to start anything. The education, it starts you here in the management system. Taught enough to manage, taught enough to count. What are you counting? From where? You don't know where it's coming from. So the basic of trading teaches you how to generate something. Then when you bring your accountancy, your economics theories, whatever, you can manage. We need to educate the professionals now to get their hands dirty. Owning a car wash does not mean you're stupid. We always view entrepreneurship as a basic survivalist thing, but you can turn that to a top level business, just like Spazaitss. It's a basic survivalist business. So it says a lot about you if you can convert some that is important but regarded as survivalist to a corporate business. What I've learned with all this big business, they were all solving small problems around their neighborhood. All big business, all big musicians, they were addressing the animal in that small environment, and then it scaled up to a macro level.
Your concept of really doing business is keep it simple, damn it.
Principles.
Right?
Yes.
And one of the things that our young people, when they look at you, would always think of is, this one, he probably had it easy. He had the right mentors, he was at the right place at the right time, and things actually happened for him. Looking back, to your early days as, a young person in corporate, what are some of the lessons that environment actually taught you?
Corporate has taught me that there's too many bosses and they lead you by fear. And I think that's the nature of corporate. We want you to come out. We want you to bring what we need now. But I'm a creative. I'm like the guy who wrote the maths book. I'm like the founder of maths. In a plain place, I'm going to figure out what we need to create.
Absolutely.
I don't belong in that room. There used to be this guy when I was working at Pick n Pay, and I hope he watches this because this is very important for me.
Dear guy, you got to be watching this.
We all used to be scared of this man, but I was not scared of it. I was just doing what they need. And he used to be leading by fear, everyone. He was not my direct manager. All my managers connected with me. He used to pull fear from every person. And every time he asked work, we will all be like this and give him work. People will be like, why are you so scared of this man? And I remember telling him, I'm not scared of this guy. I'm scared of who I am. Because what I am is bigger than what he knows. I am, and it scares me because if I open my mouth to this man, he will feel threatened.
But isn't that just how, in the main, Africa's leadership has really been defined by instilling fear, by keeping people in a box, by allowing people to behave and behave in a particular way. Because if you don't behave in that way, you are actually seen as, you're an outlier. You are actually not normal. You are actually seen as the black sheep. So you are a black sheep.
100%. And now I'm proudly a black sheep.
Who's creating havoc everywhere. In a good way.
In a good way.
Yes.
And because I've lived there for so long in a black sheep where I'm so comfortable because now.
You've embraced it.
Yes. And people are starting to wake up now that maybe this is the direction.
Absolutely.
So if they are saying this, that's my home now.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're saying this is the guy who's coming up. But what they don't realize is this is where I've been living.
You've been there all along. I mean, from actually selling sweets in a train when you were actually quite young,
let me tell you,
to actually managing your mom's business at 14.
100%. She used to own a Spaza shop that I ran. We used to buy fruit and veggies from farms, and she would send me to go buy these fruits and veg and stuff. We are all sourcing fruits and veg from the same supplier, and then we all package them the same way. It's a basic survivalist. I learned there that you need to be different. That's why you see the head. I'm not the same as the other entrepreneurs. I'm not talking the same thing. They're talking South Africa, I'm talking Africa, because I learned differentiation, and it's a natural thing for me. And because of that, I will know how to move in that room. So when they say, no, now BRICS, they're looking for entrepreneurs who are doing this and that. I had technologies that were already in Europe, already performing outside the UAE. So when we sit in there and we are all interviewed, who is doing something that will take us outside? It was clear. And that's positioning. All these are principles that I've learned in the basic business.
You then basically moved from corporate to start your own company, AnalyticsX, Analytics Advertising. Tell us about that leap.
Before starting Analytics, I had not sold anything that has made me more than 1,000. So as much as you are educating on one, the fact that you haven't sold anything, you still don't believe in yourself enough to trade.
Yeah, you still need to gain the confidence.
100%. That's the same problem of these corporate guys. They're not sure. I was not sure that I'm going to be able to build a product at some point. So I said, let me focus on what I know. What I know is mathematics. I'm a calculus guy. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur, but that time entrepreneurship is questioned whether you are. But I'm also from econometrics, and I'm also from computer science. How about you create one company that represents all these models? Analytics Advertising is a company that is coming from an economics model, economics theory, behavioral economics. It's about understanding customer behavior and how they make purchasing pattern, purchasing decision. But to be able to collect the data, you need a system. So you need to have software developers. And as you have systems, you need to have data engineers to mine the data and build a pipeline. And to now interpret the data, you need data scientists. Now when you have data scientists, you need guys who interpret the stories. That's why you need marketers and whatever, designers to design the content. That's why it's analytics advertising. It's a science, art, and heart business. You use science to mine data and tell stories. And once you tell stories, make sure they connect to people's heart. That's what we do. So you'll find us building technologies for large corporations in manufacturing, in retail. You'll find us optimized. Now we're working with, we're working with some financial institution in Swaziland. So we're getting involved. And basically it's around that, software to market.
Amazing. And then from there, you actually ventured to your next business.
Yes. I realized that when I was building analytics advertising that I have, while building analytics, I was working on different companies. How many companies can you work with to become a multi-award winning company? I mastered something about building a company from scratch. And I realized that we had built some technologies that were on the shelf. I can't keep running this thing for a long, I need to, actually, also what sparked me was I need to create jobs for general people. Because my father was a general worker. How am I going to solve jobs for general people? And I couldn't find business around, because we hire professionals. 30 people is a lot in a So I picked one company now called Spazaitss, and I had to come with a head, like a group company called AnalyticsX. And that's where we started positioning ourselves as that. There's other two companies that I'm not launching yet, waiting for Spazaitss to take off. And now we're running as a group. And as a group, we are collaborating with global companies. Huawei Cloud, we are providing cloud solutions for large corporations. I can come to any company and sell them cloud service for everything they do, and that's X.
And this is the guy from Louis Trichardt.
Exactly.
So basically, I think your story is saying it is possible, and it is saying, Black child, it is your time, and you have it in you to actually, take the world, conquer the world. And one of the things that, I look at you every day and I realize it's just how involved you are in your business, how passionate you are in your business, and how much you are actually leaving your brand, you are leaving your dream. It's actually a lifestyle, And I look at you and I'm like, imagine if we had so many of those, out there. You want to create, you want to create 1,000 jobs in the next 5 years, right? And I know that is possible. I know you will create those jobs, but how?
You saw me launching in Cape Town.
Yeah, I did.
Everything that I'm doing now, it's a connection to a bigger monument for that. Cape Town alone, after launching, that's about 15 people. I need my problem is an office day. And every time I'm scaling like that, I'm already selling a franchise for Spazaitss. Botswana I can show you on my phone when we're done. And across 54 countries, I'm gonna load, because you can see. So how I think is possible is just to leave it as a lifestyle. And as you create the problem, make sure you have the ecosystem that will balance it. Because as much as I can start it, I'm not the right person to maintain it. And some people mistake me to think that I'm going to be running everything. No, I'm the initiator. Then I build a system, or I even plan the system before I get there. And those are the guys who maintain, and we grow together. And I have mastered one thing: collaboration. I am not an independent worker. I've always worked with people. And because of that, in a room, I'm always identifying who do I work with and where do I go. And because of that, that person talks to somebody, and that's how I got here.
So now we are actually moving from analytics advertising. We are now on Spazaitss. Let's talk a little bit more about Spazaitss. What's the idea around Spazaitss? How did it start? And, where are we going with Spazaitss?
Idea started 2019. As I was building analytics, I had to park it because I felt like the market was not ready. What we are doing at Spazaitss, it's a marketplace for the township and small towns. And the small towns were not ready at the time. Network, internet, data, I could feel it that I might not hit at the time. So right now, the idea is to connect customers with stores and delivery guys. And this integrated system allows a customer to order their fast food at any given time, and the store to accept, and the delivery man to deliver. A delivery man can be anybody in that community. But what we're doing now is that we are extending more than food, more than African cuisine. It's a marketplace.
Yeah. So basically, this is just another way of building township economies, if you want to call it that. It's actually creating employment, in particular youth employment, hopefully. And it is actually allowing people to take charge, of their destinies. Yes, of their own destinies where they are.
You start to have a digital business. People can order your material from anywhere. So this marketplace is an ecosystem that allows the township economy to be activated. Why I'm confident about it? When it hit, it's the biggest marketplace. We're looking at people who are concentrating on key areas. This key areas is only few people. The people live in the township. 80% live there. I connect that, we have a business. Right now, we enter the market as a food delivery platform in Gauteng, Cape Town. We are extending out. We are going to Limpopo as well in November. But we are now franchising Spazaits across the continent. We don't have to own this business by ourselves in the continent, but we can own a portion while collaborating with continental leaders in that country, and we make it a continental business. The idea is to automate the economics in the continent. Many other solutions. I'm also running a tech company. Yeah. I understand the AFCFTA. I'm invited at the AFCFTA.
In Egypt.
VIP. Nice. I'm in the room with the African Union. I'm listening. Policies. What is next? I understand that when that new monument they wanted, I will be the right person to create the digital solution. So Spazaits is an introduction for what is yet to be.
So one of the things that we don't do very well as Africans, we don't actually take advantage of the opportunities that are in the continent. In fact, the main players in the continent are brands that are coming from outside of the continent. Yes. So what is your plan in terms of increasing your footprint across all your companies in Africa and ensuring that you're growing in Africa, not just only as AnalyticsX, but also with other African entrepreneurs that are as energized as yourself?
AnalyticsX already exists in 5 countries in the continent. They exist as if they are individual companies. Yeah. And that was what I could do with a consulting company. Yeah. With the franchise, I'm going to scale this thing very quickly because in those 5 countries, I already know how to move. Scale the franchise of Spazaits while assisting and helping these corporations with consulting with cloud service, and data and things like that. My vision has now become continental. It has always been continental. The past 2 years, you see me wearing the hat. People think I'm Nigerian. I walk in a shop, people don't treat me well. They're like, hey, this is my Nigeria, we're tired of them. They see me in my car, they say, no, that's drugs. I see them, but they're so limited vision. They don't see what I'm trying to do. I've noticed that when you present yourself as that, the market responds as that. Now that I've presented myself as a continental person or as an African person, African people give me business. Absolutely. When I was in Kenya 3 weeks ago, I met guys from Senegal who are running electricity company that once, and I'm like local because So people in the continent, they refer, let's say to international people when they want to get into the continent and they are looking for business people to partner, people always refer me. Because I look like that. I'm the African face.
You basically are the African and you're actually taking charge as an African.
100%. Yeah? The future for what I'm doing is, the market in South Africa is too small, 60, 70 million people. I can't serve people here. I can't build a multi-billion rand system that is going to serve so many people in South Africa alone. But once I start connecting the countries, I'm aware that even if we do 10% in each country, in total is enough to compete. And also I've met guys from Safaricom and others who are building technologies that are powerful. So the more we build like that, we will come with other solutions that will integrate. I'm only 35.
You actually fall within that 70% of Africa's population. 100%. And already you have a presence in 5 countries. 100%. You're growing your Africa footprint, and you're not just actually conquering Africa, but you are actually targeting the rest of the world. So which other markets are you actually targeting beyond Africa?
UAE is proper because 70% is from somewhere. It's a cosmopolitan metropolis economy. It's a central place. Money moves through Dubai. Yeah. I want to be in that ecosystem, and that's why we registered AnalyticsX in the UAE, in Dubai. We have a e-residency in Europe at Estonia. So that e-residency allows us to trade within Europe. But we're still dissecting, no Germany language, I don't know. Yeah. But we'll get there. We're still in the beginning phase in that market. But Berlin and other key economies that I'm learning now, some of the solutions that we already have here in South Africa, they are way behind. I know we look like we are behind. These economies are not as...
Yes, they're not as advanced as we make them out to be.
Just like a competitive advantage economy. They might be good with something that you are not, but you're also good with something they don't have. Absolutely. We have so much that we're strong at. And when I'm walking in an African giant of so many soldiers here, and I'm aware that I need to represent. So when we do get the opportunity in that market that will work, I will make sure.
So when we actually go out there to the world to actually represent, as you actually say, do we understand our power? You know, what has been your observation?
Because I always think like business and everything else is all comes down to principle. Yes. In a family, what makes you different? Once you find your uniqueness, they call it unique value proposition. They call it with funny names. But it's basically what is your differentiation when you're in the room? That is your genius level talent. That's your strength. Play there. It's called competitive advantage. When you play in your space, nobody can be better than you being you. Whether as a country or as a business, when you go to those economies, perform your strength. When you are performing your strength, people will include you in the ecosystem. That ecosystem works when everybody is being themselves. The same with economics.
Entrepreneurship. You actually touched on a very important aspect of it, which is start where you are with what you have. Absolutely. And basically scale out. Absolutely. You know, the whole example of a car wash, I mean, it could actually be any other business. Anything really just basically says, you know, money is money. You know, a 100 note that is actually made from a car wash is really the same as one that is made from Spazaitss, is really the same as one that is made anywhere. Mm-hmm.
This dress, was it made in Europe?
No, it was made here by Sangodes.
You go sell this in Europe. You go sell this in Russia. I was in Russia, nothing like this. You sell this is special there. That's what they do. They sell their own tradition. It's called Italian what. They bring it here. It's special. That's what you bring there.
So looking at our different regional trading blocks, you know, like Southern Africa, East Africa, West Africa, because, you know, I am a firm believer in actually conquering, you know, the continent one region at a time. And with the type of businesses that you have actually embarked on, if we just take Southern Africa, which countries are you actually looking to expand in? You spoke about Eswatini.
I'm already at Eswatini. I'm at Zimbabwe. I'm registered. People disrespect Zimbabwe. Do you know Zimbabwe is dollars? In Harare, we're trading in dollars. You know my quotes in Harare? They beat any quote here in South Africa. Because you are thinking in rands. $180 USD there. How much? You're talking different level. And people don't understand that how much they can generate from Zimbabwe. Botswana. I've registered business in Botswana, Zimbabwe, Eswatini, Swaziland. Now we're going looking at Zambia. But I'm interested to East Africa. Yes, yeah. Rwanda, Kenya, Ethiopia. These are markets that I'm working with them, but not yet fully registered. Those markets, I now understand them enough to know how to move and know how to register. Rwanda, same day to register a company. Now I'm just like, how do I navigate? I already have interns from one of the African Leadership University in Rwanda. In the future, I just want to see me setting up an AnalyticsX business in East Africa. West Africa, I don't know it yet. Yet to learn.
That's besides the head. I love that.
You know what they do? They embrace me. Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria.
Nigeria, I love Nigeria. Yes. I think Lagos is actually one of my most inspiring cities because the minute you are there, like people are just so entrepreneurial. Yeah. You know, everyone is hustling. You know, it's actually such positive energy, positive vibe, you know, from the street vendor, yes, you know, to the guy that's actually meeting you in a boardroom, you know, to the government person. Everybody is saying, let us find solutions. There's nobody that is actually saying, this is too hard for us to do, or we need solutions from outside the continent, which is the next topic that I want to actually touch on, which is how do we actually build this culture of Africans being at the forefront of finding solutions to problems that are uniquely African.
And you know it has nothing to do with the solution because the solution is there. Yeah. It has everything to do with the belief in oneself and the ability to connect the ecosystem, connect those who are around you and build. I think we are so used to fast, quick microwave solution.
It's all about instant gratification.
Yeah, it's just a facade. Like if you're doing this for money, you're not gonna make it. This journey is tough, you know? And I think that's what's missing. We need to fall in love with solving the problem around our environments, and we expand it to outside markets. Then we scale it that way. I feel like one thing that is missing is the ability to understand that if you're going to build something, you're not going to achieve it in 1 year, 2 years. There was a time we used to call China Hong Kong. You remember? Everything now comes from there.
China, from what we wear to what we eat. In fact, one of the things that I always touch on is, being passionate about African brands and being passionate about everything African. It frustrates me that every day when we wake up, 50% of what we consume, what we utilize, and what we spend our hard-earned money on is coming from outside the continent, whether you like it or not. And we haven't gotten to a point where we are saying, at least let me consciously make sure that what I'm wearing is coming from Africa. Let me consciously make sure that the car that I drive is actually built here. Let me consciously make sure that, the food that I eat is coming from here. You go to a shop to actually buy grapes. They're actually coming from Spain.
Serious?
Yeah, and you're like, okay, is it that difficult to make grapes? I mean, just as an example, a lot of these things, I'm, one of those people that actually read, where each product is coming from when I actually buy something, because I need to know where my money is going to, Technically, we complain about money leaving the continent, but we are the enablers of money leaving the continent. Every single day, we are basically saying, I'm going to buy, this soda that is coming from the US versus this one that is actually a local brand. I mean, just as an example, what can you actually say about the importance of us, building our own African brands, and not just building them, but consuming them? I like what you said about this dress, carrying so much value. Yeah, in Russia or in Europe or wherever. But it needs to carry value here. It needs to actually be appreciated more here.
We approach the market as if we're not worth it. Because
we need to be affirmed.
We are not confident about selling the dress. You don't give it a name. But people buy brands, and brands are created in people's mind. And products are created in the factory. Gucci can take the same dress and put Gucci here. You respect it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't know branding marketing. We sell it as if we are asking. Yeah. And because you are asking, your price is low. The same Louis Vuitton quality is the same of this dress. I can just put a logo in it and say Louis Vuitton. I promise you, and put a hanger in it. You're going to buy it. What is the difference? Branding and positioning. When we put our stores, it's like we are asking. We are not really sure. The Spaza shop is not really structured, not painted, nothing. And you want to charge. That's why my office, Waterfall, since I started, my first office was in Rosebank, Senton, Waterfall. Yes. Only now I went to Halfway House because I wanted a bigger space. Yes. But now I'm coming back, I'm like, we need. Do you know why? Because you won't be able to sell a top level solution with the average presentation.
Presentation and packaging is everything.
Yes. Packaging and presentation, we're failing because we're probably having same quality. Those who have mastered it, they put the price high.
Yes, and all you are paying for is really the packaging, right? Not what's inside.
Not what's inside. Why don't you bring it here to a point where every South Africans can wear it because it's quality, and then you scale the volume. Then they put it here where only 5 people wear it, and then it doesn't become special. And it's not because people don't appreciate what you're doing. It's because you don't understand pricing.
That's so true. But also I think it's just understanding consumer behavior 100%. And what basically makes a person spend their hard-earned money. And if it's money we're chasing, then if people buy into packaging, then it's packaging that we have to actually, put up with. But having said that, I want to actually tap into your own understanding of some of the challenges that as entrepreneurs we actually are faced with, but most importantly, what the environment needs to actually do to meet us halfway. So what does an enabling environment look like?
My biggest problem, I'm a loner when I'm doing this. Only now I'm starting to be comfortable, connect. Imagine I'm quitting a job and I'm saying this is the solution, and your own mother doesn't talk to you for 6 months. I know she loves me, and she's the best person to support me now, but 6 months.
Because you're going against the grain, right? You're going against the norm.
Your siblings, your friends, my friends blocks me.
Soon he's going to be asking for money, yeah?
5 years, 6 years, you turn out, you become. Now, he doesn't talk to us anymore. They change, they forget all that journey you walk alone. And because they leave you alone, you learn to be...
You learn to be alone.
Alone.
Yeah.
And now because things are working so fast, they're like, why does he live like this? It's because you taught him to live like that.
Absolutely.
You didn't want him around. You didn't want, it's a lonely journey. Now you need other entrepreneurs who are going through the same. And the entrepreneurs, because they are already in a lone space around them, they don't realize in an entrepreneurial world, we need to connect and collaborate. They still approach entrepreneurship with the loner. We need to go in a peg because you know something powerful that I don't. And we need to recognize that we are all gods or creators. And we all carry our own genius level talent. But when we're in that room, you are all special. I'm not going to dilute your greatness. But I feel like we don't connect that. When you are in that room, I actually don't disconnect. I don't dilute you. We are all powerful. And if we understand that we can be soldiers, that's why soldiers are powerful. They understand that we are all.
So it's basically mastering the art of winning together.
Everyone talks capital. You know, I want to do this, but there's no capital. Dig deep into understanding why what that person is saying. They don't want to think about a creative solution that will allow them to attract the capital. If I give you 1 million now, I promise you, you're going to go back to your zero state. You don't know how you got there. And that's why lottery guys, how many lottery guys have won? How many out of them have generated so many solutions? They don't understand the equation of building ecosystem. There's a formula to success on entrepreneurship. Saying is you need to be influential. If influential is the X we need to solve for influence. So we feel the basics understanding of working together and also understanding that capital is actually the creative ideas that allows you to attract. Here's an easy example. The business we start, Joe Holdings. What do you do? You can't be a holding in the beginning. What do you specialize with? I don't say that I do everything. I say that I'm a tech company. We focus. And it's not that I don't know how to build a car wash business. It's not that I can't build a salon.
It's just that right now you're focused on this.
Locked in.
Yeah.
I will get to a point where I would be maybe an investor, like Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant. I'll be an investor where maybe I'll be investing in there. But we need to specialize. Because you don't specialize, any tender that comes, you go for it.
So you're a tenderpreneur, basically.
Your business without tender can't exist. You can't exist in Dubai. There's no tenders. There's no tenders in East Africa. That's why you can't go there. And when we are trading, me and you are talking, hey, I need tenders. I'm talking a solution that works in any economy.
Exactly. That actually, survives on its own without being linked to any government or to any tender.
Perfecting the product that will work in any economy. When you were busy looking like you're scaling, you are busy building and perfecting, filling forms to get tenders. Yes, you get 2-3 tenders, then COVID hit. And then you don't know what to do. I am still here because of the solutions that I'm building is solving the existing problem. A corporate company has so much data that they don't know how to analyze.
So, and I know we probably need to kind of like now get to wrapping up. What message would you have for your mom? Mama, I made it.
Mama, I made it.
Yeah, we're here.
I understand you are a basic survivalist business, but I thank you for taking me to school because I was in the same class with top level students. And I'm performing at the highest level. How is it that this guy knows what I don't know? We are the same people. Yeah. And now I'm saying the same business you taught me, I have multiplied it 10,000 times. And I've got young professionals that are buying houses, more than 1 million, 2 million, 3 million house from the same vision you taught me. I used to buy a bus ticket with this vision she taught me selling. That same thing has gotten us to be a multi-award winning, 8 times award winning, top entrepreneur. Spazaitss is a multi-trillion rand company, given, whether they think I'm mad or whatever, it's a given thing. And the longer I turn it, and that same business, Spazaitss, is her business, what she taught me at Spaza shop. And she just didn't know what it can be, but I multiplied what you showed me. And that was the mine, and I appreciate it.
Amazing. And your message to your peers, your below 35-year-old, 70% out of 1.4 billion Africa's population. So what would you say to Africa's young people?
When I was in corporate, because I used to push 10% of myself, and nobody was looking at me because that 10% was powerful. Yeah. I felt like I was powerful and I was hiding. The manager doesn't see me. I was hiding from myself. That's why now I like this song from Burna Boy, and I couldn't see that I was cheating on me. I was cheating on the greatness I have. You're doing the same.
Absolutely.
Every day you wake up and do average. Every day you just want to wake up and drink. You know, in my pocket when I'm working, I can afford alcohol. I can afford any Hennessy. But you don't see me drinking. When you are buying Hennessy every day and looking special, what are you celebrating? I am saying that start spending your day as if it's your last. Make impact. Bring your genius level talent into your everyday life and touch lives. Let's live life of purpose. Let's serve. You know, I learned that life is about giving, and when you give, you receive. Those who have, to whom much is given, much is tested. And some people look at me now and they say, whatever they're saying, but it's because I've been tested so much. And the reason why I don't get angry, you know, my managers at work in my companies, they get mad more than me. And people look at me and say, why is he not mad? I think he's stupid. Been through so much that I don't want to give you pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not easily moved.
No. Yeah. And I am laughing because I don't want you to go through that. Yeah. And if you could see that we would work together. Yeah. Some people, and I can say this, some people get blinded by the light. That because the light is so bright, they want to run away from it. Yeah. I can easily pass you on the light. If I can walk in a room with somebody who's an investor and you are working with me every day, what is happening to you in 10 years, 5 years? Because if God is blessing me and you are my neighbor, God is next door.
Absolutely. And God is blessing you too, actually.
100%.
Because it's the multiplier effect, you know.
100%.
And then just in closing, Africa is known to have leaders that are, with all due respect, you know, older, you know, with all due respect, that have been in office for much longer, and with all due respect, that probably do not bring along young people with them in the spaces and places where they are at. What is your message to Africa's leaders coming from Africa's next generation of leaders?
I understand you know so much and you've been well equipped for years. My content creator, she's 22. She creates my content. It's what talks to her audience. Yes. That's what makes me transcend to the youth. I can't talk that same language, but she can help me. Yes. The same thing to you as a leader. You might think you are making the perfect decision, but it's a decision of 20 years ago. Absolutely. I was in a room talking cloud. Then I was like, with cloud service, we'll be able to fasten and process the way of work, and the government can scale the... And I was talking so many things about AI, and someone is like, what if it rains?
You're like, yeah, sure. We're not there.
Where do I start?
Yes.
I can feel we're not talking the same thing. It's a disconnect. Yeah. But I understand that I appreciate the knowledge you have, and we can work together. What I've noticed from them is they want to work without us. We don't know, we're too loud, we're too busy. But we can learn from you, and we bring the knowledge of the modern day.
The two can work perfectly together.
Today's jobs are not the same as the previous. My father used to work for Transnet. So many jobs were there at the time. What kind of jobs like that can we create now? That's why it's Spazaitss. It's a logistics business.
So the future is young, the future is energetic, the future is Talifhani.
100%.
Thank you so much for joining us. Really grateful to have spent this time with you, and I hope that this, you know, will actually be an inspiration to a lot of young people, but also to a lot of older people that basically can see where Africa is going in terms of leadership in the next 5 years.
Thank you so much. You know, I want to also say that I appreciate every corporate company that always hear me and they always include me, because it's because of them that we are becoming sustainable and able to run. There's individuals in corporate companies who just hear me and they just know how to help me. Absolutely. I appreciate them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.